Hey folks, welcome back to the cabin. This week on Carl's Off the Grid, I would like to talk with you a little bit about one of the greatest dangers that I've stumbled across here in the North Woods. And there's been quite a few adventures that I've had with bears, with wolves, up and close experiences with the critters. And this is probably the most dangerous by far. For those of you that have been watching my channel for quite some time, you'll probably remember last year in November, I was running a mini excavator in the yard here, trying to do a little bit of landscaping. And midway through the operations of the excavator, I felt a burning sensation coming underneath my stomach by my belt line. And sure enough, what happened? I got bit by my first deer tick. I'm gonna take you guys along with me for a beautiful scenic walk, and I am gonna get back in the thick of the bush back here, and I will take you to some areas that are just gorgeous. And we've got a heavy fog cover this morning, so it should make for some good video in some of these low-lying areas. But unfortunately, these beautiful areas are also loaded with ticks. So I'll go ahead and let's go roll some footage of the walk that I take, and then after I show you these scenic sites, we'll talk a little bit more about Lyme disease. Some pretty awesome scenery, hey? I feel so blessed to be able to have a cabin out here in the area where I do. It really is God's country. But I can already feel them crawling on me. I am gonna go over to the porch on the cabin, and I'll take off my sweatshirt and pants, obviously off camera, and we'll see how many ticks I have crawling on my clothes, and we'll give you a close-up view of them, and we'll see what I'll have crawling on my skin as well. And we'll see if we can't find some deer ticks. I know for a fact that we'll find wood ticks, but we'll see what else we can see. Like I said earlier, the first time that I noticed that I had something wrong with me, it was last November. We were doing some landscaping in the yard. We had a fresh blanket of snow out, and out of all things, I was sitting on a mini excavator, and I felt a burning sensation underneath my stomach, and I thought maybe my belt was just rubbing on my waist the wrong way, and maybe I just had some type of rash or something going on because we were soaking wet with all the snow. And when I went inside, pulled up my shirt, and immediately I saw a really tiny tick on my stomach, and then there was a bullseye ring around it. And for those of you that are squeamish, you probably don't want to see this, but I am going to splice in a picture of the bite just so you guys know what to look for. All right, that was the first bite that I had, and I got that in November with snow cover. Never had a tick in November. I've never had a tick past like maybe July, maybe August. The second time that I got Lyme disease was about a month ago. I got hit with another deer tick, and I had the infamous target, this time on the inside of my leg. And I'll show you a picture of that as well. All right, so the reason I bring this up is not to, give anybody any panic attacks or anything about going into the woods, but it's very important that you check yourself. And every night, middle of the day, if you feel something itching or crawling on you, most likely it's going to be a tick. With wood ticks, I've never felt a wood tick bite. You just kind of feel them crawling on you, or you see them, embedded in you. They'll go ahead and start biting into your skin and getting ready to suck that blood so that they can nourish their babies. With deer ticks, I've had a different experience. Now, this is only my experience. I'm not an expert. I can't talk for everybody. But when I got bit by deer ticks, I actually felt a burning sensation. Both times, it was just like something was on fire, like a rash. If you run real long and your skin gets a soft spot on it from your pants or something, you know how you feel a burning sensation when you get like a heat rash or something like that. It felt like that, but a little bit more intense. When I was riding home here a couple weeks ago, that deer tick that bit me on the inside of the leg, I looked at my wife and I said, I feel a burning sensation right on the inside of my knee. I only felt that one other time, and that's when I got bit by that deer tick. So we immediately pulled off, and I went to the restroom and I checked on the inside of my knee, and sure enough, there was another tick. So what do you do for Lyme disease? I'm going to butcher the name of this medication, but you basically just go see a doctor right away, and they put me on 21 days of, I think it's called, forgive me for mispronouncing this, but I think it's doxycycline, and it's a strong antibiotic that kills, or it's supposed to kill the virus or whatever it is that starts forming inside wherever the tick had bitten you. You go on the medication for 21 days, and then after the 21 days, you're supposed to be okay. So that's what they say. With the first tick that I got bit by, I can tell you almost immediately, my doctor said it was rare, but it was about a week after I was bit, I started to feel achiness in my joints, my knees, my elbows, my hips, my back. I had a hard time sleeping. I couldn't lay down and get comfortable anyway, and it just raised havoc. I ended up feeling, oddly enough, I got really depressed with it, and I threw a video out there because I didn't know much about it, and I thought, well, let's see what other YouTubers, can throw in there, wisdom-wise, if somebody could give me some advice or anything. And there was a gentleman, Ron, out of a YouTube channel called Full Time Dream. He does a lot of RVing and hiking and exploring out in the wilderness, and Ron ended up getting it as well. And it was interesting to be able to talk to him, and he actually invited me on to do a live stream with him, and we talked about it, and it's amazing how quickly it both moved through our bodies. But basically, deer ticks look just like wood ticks, except for they're really small. And if you have a really tiny tick on you, the dead giveaway if it's a deer tick is when they do bite you. For most of you people out here, you are going to get a target that's going to go around the bite that they give you. Not everybody gets the target. Sometimes people will know by, they'll have a rash on them, and the rash can appear anywhere, not just where the tick bites you. But be aware that the danger is out there, and you know, like the old country song says, I want to check you for ticks. You know, get together with your sweetie and go ahead. That gives you a good excuse to give that tick check. Okay, folks, like I said, that's going to be a short video. I just wanted to bring some awareness to Lyme disease and to the dangers that are out in the woods. I'd like to thank you for joining me. Next week, we are going to beautify the homestead, if you will, or the cabin by adding a decorative pathway or walk that goes down to the outhouse. And we are going to go ahead, and we picked up a few more solar lights that I'm going to put along the pathway that goes to the outhouse, make it easier for everybody to make their way there at nighttime. And the idea that we came up with is it's really incredible. It was inspired by another YouTuber that I watch, and so I'll drop his name in next week's video along with those great ideas, and then we'll do a little bit of touch up on outhouse, finish it off, put those last finishing touches on as well, and we'll do all that and more next week on Carl's Off the Grid.